All right, so welcome to YouTube ads for selling courses. And to give you guys a little context here today, Kyle is my media buyer for Google. And welcome, Kyle.
Thanks.
Awesome, man. So give you a little context. We've been really crushing it with YouTube lately. In fact, I believe it's been a bit more profitable than Facebook even. The costs have been lower and conversions are good. And it's a different set of challenges for sure, much different set of challenges. But Kyle here does all my media buying for it. I record the videos. I send them to Christian, who is my video guy, and he edits them a very specific and certain way for Kyle to use in YouTube ads. Kyle does all the dashboard stuff and the targeting and whatever. And we do really well. Kyle, what do you think we spent last month on YouTube ads?
We spent just over 100K.
Yeah, just over 100,000. So what you're going to learn here today is not just us, some random Joe Blow who spent $5,000 on YouTube ads and now he wants to create a YouTube ads course, blah, blah, blah. This is a legit behind the scenes look at an online course that, again, over $100,000 per month spent. And I think we spent close to that the month before, right? I know December we didn't but that's December. That's because of the holidays. But normally we scaled it up. How fast did we scale? We started at what? What did we spend the very first month, do you think?
So, we were spending like $50 a day because I know you had tried YouTube ads a few times before. And we were just wanting to make sure it was going to work. Once we realized it was working, I took you from 50 a day to about $1,000 a day in less than a month. And I think that was like September. And then for the past few months, we've been closer to 100K per month.
Yeah. Okay. So just to give you, before we get started, just to give you guys a little idea here, I've like never run my own YouTube ads. I've always had somebody do the dashboard stuff for me. And before Kyle, I really didn't do much at all. I had a couple people try, and I just never put the effort into doing it because I never put the effort into learning the dashboard or learning what the metrics meant. I'm a Facebook ads guy. I love that platform. Google sort of confuses me with their dashboard. And so I knew Kyle was really good on it. And so what we decided to do was figure out first what type of videos were going to work. And I think that took a little work. We had a lot of videos that didn't work at first. But once we figured out what was working, Kyle was able to, scale it in the dashboard. And how many videos do you think we have right now that we're working with that are working?
So we got like 3 that are really working pretty well and a couple of others that are working okay. Okay. And we've probably tried twice that many that didn't really work.
Right. And the new one I gave you, that one's working well?
Yeah, so far it's only a few days in, but
sure. Okay. So yeah. So did we, I'm going to give you the floor here in a moment, Kyle, but did you include in this training, this stuff about the actual video, or do you need me to cover that?
I'm just going to kind of touch on that lightly.
Okay. And then get into the dashboard stuff.
Yeah. Because you had said you wanted to go more in depth on the video.
Yeah.
I don't know if you wanted to do that now or a different time.
Well, here's what we'll do. We'll go ahead and we'll go through what you have. And I'll when we get to that part, I'll make some comments, and then if we have time, at the end, I'll go a little bit more in depth onto the video, but we'll cover the main, the timer stuff and all that. We'll cover that. But as far as the dashboard stuff, that's not my wheelhouse. I don't like sitting in the Google dashboard. So you're the master of it. So we're going to definitely dive deep into that. So I'm going to go ahead and give Kyle the floor at the very end of this training. It will be, I would say it would be a long training. What do you think, about 2 to 3 hours, Kyle?
Yeah. Probably
Okay.
close to 3 hours.
Yeah. So at the very end, If Kyle still has time, we'll take some questions, but we're recording this to be, a training that you guys can watch over and over. So at the end, we'll do some Q&A if we have time, but other than that, we're just going to be going through it. So with that said, we're about to go into this. Again, we spent $100,000 a month. We're profitable, and it's going good. So show you behind the scenes of what we do on YouTube. So with that said, Kyle, take it away.
All right, cool. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. And all right, slides are working. So I'm going to start with an overview. So here's everything I'm going to be covering. I'll be talking about what to do before you actually run an ad. And then I'll go step by step through setting up a complete campaign. And then I'm going to talk about targeting. Targeting in YouTube works a lot differently than targeting in Facebook. So I'll be talking pretty in depth about targeting. And then I'll be talking about optimizing and scaling. So let me start with the overview. So if you know nothing about YouTube ads, you can start right here and you'll be pretty competent by the end of this presentation. So there's two different kinds of ads, primarily when we're talking about YouTube ads. There are discovery ads and in-stream ads. So discovery ads are like this. You're browsing YouTube or you're searching on YouTube, and here is a discovery ad. So this person is paying to put this ad in front of my search. If I click on this ad to play the video, the advertiser gets charged. Okay, that's how that works. And you can see it's the 7 ways you're using your camera wrong. I'll get to the content of these discovery ads shortly, but keep that example in mind. You'll also find discovery ads on the side while you're watching other videos, and same deal on mobile. You'll find these ads in search results. You'll find them below other videos that you might be watching. So again, you pay when someone clicks on the video. Now the kind of a framework for these ads that most people use that really is going to work the best is starting with value. When you're browsing YouTube trying to figure out what to watch, you don't want to click on an ad that you know is going to be a big sales pitch. So that these videos you saw here, the Nikon Z series camera, someone interested in cameras might click on an ad like that, or the 7 ways you're using your camera wrong. You click on that expecting to watch a longer video that's going to show you some, 7 things. So the value is the main part of these discovery ads. That's going to be a lot different than in-stream ads, which I'll talk about shortly. After you provide the value, then is where you can hit the person with some sort of promotion and call to action. And really, these discovery ads are a much smaller opportunity compared to in-stream ads. So I'm not even going to talk any more about discovery ads. We are using them a little bit, but it's really a very, very small percentage of what we're doing on YouTube right now, especially for Dan. So what I'm really going to be talking about today are in-stream ads. So these are the ads that play before another video you're going to watch. Sometimes they might play in the middle of another video. The video will be playing and then it'll skip into an ad like this. So really before, during, or after a video that you were trying to watch, that's when these in-stream ads will be running.
Can I ask one quick question, Kyle?
Yeah.
So because this is like, I'm already learning stuff because I never got into YouTube ads. So even the vernacular is new to me. So the discovery ads, would you say that there's a time and a place for that? Like maybe retargeting, or like if I had, for instance, a new video I released that I just wanted like my followers to see, kind of like I never boost ads on Facebook to try to make money. What I do is I'll boost a video that I release or a blog post just to kind of like put the value out there to my audience. And a lot of times over time, it's kind of like that 7 times thing. Like if you have to hear from a company 7 times before you make a buying decision. I'll just spend it not knowing that there won't be any specific metrics to go with it, but just to go out there and grow the brand or touch home or touch base with my followers. Would you say that's more of a time and a place for like the discovery ones, or do you just not use them at all?
So that's going to be the best use of these is retargeting for sure. Or if you're really just trying to get views on a video, you're trying to get your videos and your channel in front of more people. Because if you're thinking about using that kind of ad for like direct response, the problem is you're paying every time someone clicks on the ad, and then they're going to have to click on some other link to go sign up for whatever you're trying to get them to sign up for.
Right. So if you were doing that to like build a brand, you'd spend a whole ton of money on it, and maybe you would get like $50 webinar registrations or something. It wouldn't make sense for direct response to make immediate money. It's more for brand building. Like if a bigger brand has like a budget to, it's like a long-term play more, would you say?
Right. Yeah. Or if you have, $100 you want to throw behind a video so that you get some views and subscribers and stuff, I wouldn't expect to make that $100 back, but.
Okay. So for like we do with Facebook ads and webinars and all that, for putting $1 in and getting 4 out, you want to stick with in-stream ads.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. That's all I wanted to know.
Yeah. So in-stream ads, you've of course seen these. You can skip them after 5 seconds. This here is the call to action, which is actually an optional feature on in-stream ads. But as far as we're concerned, it is not optional. You need to be putting this in, and I'll show you that later. And this is where someone can click and it'll take them to your website. Also on desktop, these ads are going to be accompanied by a banner up here. And this actually stays up even after your ad is done playing. So maybe they didn't want to do anything. They still wanted to watch the video they were trying to watch. But now that that's over, they still have the option to click on your ad. Once your ad is done playing, as long as you're using the call to action feature, then at the very end of your ad, this button will show up and it'll give them about 7 seconds. There'll be this little countdown timer. They have about 7 more seconds to click on that button to go to your website. So that's the basics of the in-stream ad. With these ads, you pay when someone watches 30 seconds of the video or the entire video if it's shorter than 30 seconds. You can't game the system with a 29-second video. You're going to be paying no matter what. There was some confusion a few months back. People thought it was going to be 10 seconds that they were going to start charging for. That's not actually the case. So if you've heard that, that's not true. It is 30 seconds is when you get charged for someone to watch the video. The basic format that's working for these is the attention, interest, desire, action format. There's not a headline or anything that people are clicking on to then watch your video. So the very beginning of the video is basically your headline. You need to capture that attention to prevent them from skipping. And then you start to build the interest and the desire in what you're offering them, and then get them to take action. And this is the huge opportunity on YouTube right now, are these in-stream ads. So Dan, maybe this is a good spot for you to talk about the videos themselves and what's working with that.
Yeah, sure. So basically, and you gotta, I'd have to go watch some of the ads that we have that are really working, but what I basically do, it's kind of similar to Facebook ads, but people have a little bit more patience on Facebook, I think. And so, or at least in the very beginning of the video. So like, I really try to get the attention, like that's like the most important part is the very, very beginning. So for instance, one thing we've been doing is we basically, within the first 5 seconds, we want to let them know what they're going to get out of watching the rest of the video. So I'll say something like, in the next 60 seconds, I am going to show you how I do blank. So for instance, I believe that one where I showed a realtor campaign, I said something to the effect of, in the next 60 seconds, I'm going to show you how we get paid $2,000 per month per client to throw up super simple Facebook ads just like this one. Your super simple ads just like this one on Facebook. So I like it within the first like 5 to 7 seconds, I basically say, this is what you're going to get out of watching the rest of the video. And then I'll as I'm demonstrating, I'll literally log in and I'll do something and I'll demonstrate what it is I'm doing. And then I might throw up some testimonials of other people doing it. So whenever I say, hey, look at what I did, I always try to throw in what other people have done as well that I've taught. And then I say, if you want more, click here to watch this webinar. Which ad would you say is our best performing one, Kyle?
That one that you were just talking about, where you're showing the realtor ad, that one's been performing best.
Yeah, and that is just me sitting down in my office, and I've got my, the PIP, the picture-in-picture, where I have me screen sharing in the bottom right corner, and then you can see the screen, and it's almost like a light tutorial. Would you say that's accurate, Kyle? A light tutorial?
Yeah, you're actually showing something of value. You're giving people just enough of a taste about what you're going to be talking about after they click the link.
Right.
That they're actually, learning something and they want to start learning more about this.
Yeah. So I'll give you an example of why it's so I will do what I call bird's eye view. I do this a lot in ads. Basically, I'll give a very, very vague bird's eye view of a system. Like if I said to you, listen, all I do is run an ad to a webinar, to a sales page, you'd be like, okay, cool, but there's so many details in between. But I still told you the model. So for instance, in this video, I believe I said in this video that all I did was ask the realtor to send me some images or a video of their home. I threw it up right in the Facebook ads dashboard. Or no, I believe I mentioned that I went on to Fiverr and had them edit the video for me. Did I say that in the video?
No, I don't think so.
No, I don't think
we
so.
can put this up like after this.
Yeah, we could watch the video. That'd probably be the best thing, to watch the video. But essentially what I try to do is and I try to talk fast so that it's almost like people can't keep up and they have to take notes. Now I have seen, and this is why I know this ad's working, I've seen some other gurus literally copy this ad. Like literally I saw, I won't name him, but one of the top ClickFunnels 2 guru people literally copied word for word what I said, had an image of a realtor up, but didn't actually go into the campaign. I went into the campaign and showed the video, probably because it was a fake client, because in the very beginning, he shows a screenshot from a Shopify store and says, look at all this money we're making running ads for clients. And it's a literal image of a Shopify store, like the number, the income of a Shopify store. And I'm like, what a shithead. Like he literally just copied my ad and didn't even have the actual content behind it. So I think one reason that what's working for me is because I'm really I really have something to show. Like this is a real client that I really did this for, that I can show. So like, for instance, if you're doing real estate, right? One cool thing you could do, like if I was selling a real estate course, I would be I'd take out my iPhone, I'd stand in front of a house, and I'd be like, in the next 60 seconds, I'm going to show you exactly how I made over $100,000 flipping this house, or 50 or 30, whatever, $100,000 flipping this house. And then I would like walk in the house and I'd come in, I'd say, listen, it's not as hard as you think. And as I walked in, I'd be like, you see that entire kitchen over there? That took a 1-hour consultation for me. And then I would like throw a screenshot up of the old kitchen, and be like, you think you have to know design, you think you have to know this or that, you don't. Here's the old kitchen. Look at this now. This was 1 hour of work for me. I got a 1-hour consultation. I got a quote, and I did not have to do a moment's work on this until the kitchen was done and I had to stroke a check or something like that, right? And I would like really try to be in the ad. Like I want to bring you into the world. That's what I like to do in a lot of my ads. I like to bring people into my world and show them the environment, because it's so much more believable than just saying it. You know, like I see all these ads selling similar courses to mine, and they're like, oh, there's a bridge behind me, and imagine that it's a bridge between your customer or some stupid crap. And I guess that those ads might work, but to me, when you actually have something to show, I think it works really, really well. Like we just did an ad where I said, this is Matt, or this is this person, or this is that person. And they just made this much with their agency. They just made this much. And I go really fast. And I throw up their screenshots. Now here's a little ninja tip for you guys. So when I have an award that I give out when people make money in my course, it's either a 10K club t-shirt or it's one of those nice crystal awards. So what I started doing was, when you submit to get one of those awards, we literally say you must submit a Loom video, log into your dashboard of Stripe or whatever it is, and provide us with proof that you've made this money. You know, it's not like ClickFunnels where you can just be like, oh, I made $1 million. And they're like, okay, cool, here you go. Like, no, we actually check. So when they submit these videos, we now have video assets and screenshots. And so when I say this is this person, this is that person, I have in the video, I have Christian throw up those images or video along with the names to show the income and to show that it's real, right? So I try to be as real as possible. Now, in contrast to that, and Kyle we were talking about this the other day, there's that guy that sells, I think he sells like a how to be a YouTuber course. I forget it. Jump Cut, is it?
Yeah, Jump Cut.
Yeah, I think that
is the guy's name.
What is it? Yeah, Kong, something like that.
Kong, yeah. He used to have a big YouTube channel called Simple Pickup, about like how to pick up girls. So now he sells this program about how to build a big YouTube channel.
See, I always feel like that's like being a YouTuber is like it's I don't know. It's like the stripper version of what I do. It's just like, you know, like it's not you're not solving a real problem. You're just out there doing weird, crazy stuff. But I like that he, you know, turned that into a real business. But so if you notice, his probably cost thousands upon thousands upon thousands of dollars to create, because he's like the one where he was in a hospital. And it was just like a 3-second thing where he's in a hospital. Like, do you know how much money that probably costs in setup, hiring actors, lighting? That's a lot. And a buddy of mine, and you guys may know him, Alex Becker, he's real big on YouTube with YouTube ads. And all he does is like the same, like I do the same kind of stuff he does, just these screen share videos. Probably takes literally 5 minutes to film. Like the one that we just launched took me like 5 minutes. And I know for a fact that he crushes it. So, because like I've literally sat down with him and he showed me his YouTube ads dashboard and stuff. And we were talking about it, and it's like, there's just no need at all to create videos like that, like high production. I actually had a talk with Billy Jean. I'm sure you guys know Billy Jean. And we were talking about it, and I literally said to him, I said, like, what's your average webinar registration cost? And he told me, and mine was much lower. I said, dude, why don't you just do the simple videos like I do, like the real simple? Why do you go all out? Because I was like, how much did it cost you to do that Oompa Loompa video? He's like, oh, it costs like 12 grand. I'm like, what the fuck? Why do you do that? And so the way he explained to me was his goal is much different than mine. His goal is to be like Gary Vee. His goal is to build a huge name and brand. And you notice that he had some interview he did. He got Russell Brunson to fly out to his office and have an interview. And I think it's because he spends all this money on these crazy big ads to appear larger than life. And that's his goal. He wants fame, right? And that's totally fine. I don't. I want money. I want a profitable business. I want profits. Like I don't even want to build a huge company. I want profits. That's my goal. So the most profitable ads of YouTube or Facebook are very simple iPhone ones, screen share ones, very, very simple ones. And so if you're thinking you have to, spend all this money on these crazy videos, that is not true. If you want the most profitable ads, simple, easy is better. If you want to build a huge name and interview famous people and, in my opinion, just feed your ego, because like I look at that wasting all those dollars and stuff as ego. But that's fine. If there's nothing wrong with having an ego and wanting to be famous. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not my goal. So, if that's your goal, then sure, go spend that money. But if anybody of you out there are thinking, man, I can't compete because I have to make these fancy videos, that is not true. The profit there's profits in simplicity. Okay, the most simplest videos really work the best in terms of profit. It may not build you as huge of a name as like some of that fancy Gary Vee stuff, but if that's not your desire, then don't go after that. There's no reason for it. So I hope that's helped some of you maybe get that out of your head if that was in there. Would you concur with that, Kyle?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, cool. So what I can do on I'll do a different video one day where maybe I'll talk about how to have energy in your videos or something. But for now, we can just show them some of the videos. Would you guys like to see some of the videos that are working? I imagine they would. So we can do that. Do you want to do that now, Kyle, or do you want to move on to the next part?
We better move on, and then if we have time at the end, we could play some.
Yeah, we'll play some at the end, and then also we'll talk about the when we're watching them. Maybe we can talk about, because there's certain places in the 20 seconds and all that stuff. So yeah. All right, cool. So we'll show those at the end. That way you can get the full kind of experience, and then we'll give you some examples. So with that said, I'll hand the floor back to Kyle.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to start going now through like the step-by-step type stuff. And I'll be showing you screen shares or screen captures from inside the Google Ads dashboard. You're going to want to go back through this recording if you're on this live and take this and pause it while you're setting up your campaign. Or if this is your first time watching it and you're watching the recording, I'd watch this whole thing through once and then go back and set up your campaign. But that said, I'm going to try to go through some of this stuff kind of quickly so that we have it on video, but I don't want to take a ton of time on each step. So YouTube ads are run through the Google Ads platform. So if you've ever used Google Ads before, it used to be called AdWords. Now it's called Google Ads. That's where you're going to run YouTube ads. If you've never done this before, you can go to youtube.com/ads. And you'll see a place where you can get $100 credit. And if you do that, they'll send you an email to get your credit. They'll also walk you through actually setting up the account. So I'm not going to go through all that. I'm going to start from the point where you actually have your account set up and you're ready to start building stuff. So before your first ad, there's a couple things that you need to be aware of. We're going to set up some conversion tracking, and we're going to set up some retargeting, which is also referred to as remarketing inside Google. So I might say either or, it's the same thing. So this is the main dashboard you're going to see the first time you log into Google Ads. And the first thing we're going to do is set up a couple of conversions. So go up here to Tools, and then Conversions. And then you'd click the Add Conversions button. So there's a few different ways to add conversions for the purpose of selling courses and tracking course opt-ins and webinar opt-ins and course sales. We're just going to be worried about website conversions. Now, a word of caution, you can also import these from analytics. I would not do that. When I first started running Dan's campaigns, that's how I was trying to do that. And a lot of them were being lost, we found, just because of the webinar software. So it's much more reliable to do what I'm about to show you, generate the code from right inside Google Ads, and then add that Google Ads code to the website. Don't rely strictly on analytics if that's something you're used to. So the first website conversion we will add is the webinar registration. So you can see at the top, you give the conversion a name. The category is lead. And then for value, we're not going to use a value for the webinar registration. For the count, you need to change that from every to 1. That prevents duplicate leads being tracked from the same person. We only want to track each person 1 time. And then include in conversions, yes. And then for the attribution model, I use last click for that. And then when you click create and continue, you'll get a code for this. I'll show you the code in a second, but first I'm going to show you, next I'm going to show you the settings for the sales. So you'd want to track your webinar registrations separately from your actual course sales. So here's the course sale conversion. And the category now is going to be purchase/sale. And here you will enter a value. So $9.97 if you're selling a $9.97 course. If you really want to get specific, you'd look at how many people are doing a pay plan and how many people are like refunding and what's your actual average cost per sale. You don't really need to get that specific, but you could. I would just put the main value you're selling your course for. Again, we only want to count 1 conversion per person here. And for the conversion window here, the maximum you can set is 90 days. And I go up to that just in case, maybe you're doing a longer email follow-up sequence, or you're doing some promo a couple months out and someone's going to buy your course now, even though they opted in a few months ago. I would still like that to show up in Google Ads because I want to know where that original click came from and whether that came from a YouTube ad or not. So set this to 90 days. Include in conversions, yes. And the attribution model I use for this is first click. So the attribution is basically which click is going to get credit for the sale. And this only is going to look at clicks from Google. Google is going to take credit for a click no matter what. They don't know, or like if a click came from Facebook or somewhere else. So let's say they opted in on YouTube and then they clicked the Facebook retargeting ad, and that's when they made the purchase. Google's still going to take credit for that sale. The reason I do first click is just because I'm also running retargeting ads and stuff, and I know those are working. I know those are bringing in some sales, but I really want to know what that first click was that generated the sale, because those are the main campaigns I'm optimizing, are the lead generation campaigns. So first click is what I use for the course sale. So then when we create and continue, that's when we can get our code. So you'd click the left option here, install the tag yourself. If you have a developer, someone that handles your website, you can click the middle option to email them the tag, but it's pretty easy to install it yourself. So you'll actually see 2 codes on the page here. What I do is just grab both of them. There are certain instances where you only need the bottom code, the event snippet, but it doesn't hurt to just add both of these codes. So when you're installing the code for the webinar registration conversion, that would just go immediately on the thank you page. So immediately after someone registers, the page that they see should have this code on it. When you're installing the code for the purchase, that would go immediately after their purchase. And you can also have, let's say you have an upsell, then you'd have a separate code for the upsell. So you'd put the purchase code on the first page. So they make a purchase, they land on a page that probably has your upsell offer on it. You would actually put the purchase code on that page. And then let's say they accept the upsell, then there'd be a separate code for the upsell on that page. So hopefully that made sense. If not, just show that part to your web developer and they'll take care of it for you. So the next thing I'm going to do is show you how to set up audiences. So this is remarketing. So you go back to the tools menu, click on Audience Manager. And then if you click here, set up an audience source, you'll see there are a few different types of sources that you can draw these audiences from. So we have the Google Ads tag. So this is a code you would actually install on your website. You generate it from inside Google Ads. I'm not going to show you how to set up all these. These are pretty easy things to just Google and get the instructions. But the Google Ads tag, you'll definitely want to set that up and put that on your website. You can also create audiences from your YouTube channel. So you'd need to link to your YouTube channel. And let's say you have a big audience and you get views on your videos. You can target people who've watched any of your videos, people who've watched specific videos, and certainly you're going to be running ads through that same YouTube channel. You can target people based on whether or not they've seen one of your ads. So this YouTube retargeting is pretty powerful stuff. Google Analytics, you can also create audiences in Google Analytics and link those up to Google Ads also. You don't really need to do this one, but if you're used to using Google Analytics, by all means, go ahead and link that account to Google Ads. So once you've set up a source, so once you've installed the code on your website or linked your YouTube channel, now we can create some audiences. So you'd click this blue button here, and then it'll give you the option to create any of these types of audiences. Website visitors and YouTube users are the ones that you're going to be focusing on. So let me just list some types of lists that you should create. And you want to do these right away because Google doesn't really look back. So let's say I wanted to include a list of people and include like the last month worth of traffic on my site. Google's not going to do that very well. It pretty much only starts counting your list and adding people to it from the time you create the list. So that's why I'm telling you to do this before you even create your first ad. So some lists you're going to want to have: all website visitors 540 days. So that's the maximum amount of time. So this will be anyone who's ever comes to your website within a 540-day period. This is just a nice list to have if you're going to launch a new product or something like that. This is a good list to hit up with a new launch or anything like that. Create a list of people who have hit your opt-in page within the last 30 days. People who have hit your thank you page within the last 30 days. And then also people who have ever hit your thank you page. And I'm talking about the webinar registration thank you page. So when I'm running a lead generation campaign, I'm excluding this list. Anyone who's ever opted in already, I'm completely excluding them from any lead generation campaign with this thank you page 540-day list. Sales page, 7 days. This is going to depend on how much time you're giving people to buy your course, but this is basically going to be used for people who have watched your webinar, they've gone to the sales page, and they haven't bought yet. So you're going to show them different types of ads and really try to hit them hard during this time to try to get them to buy. And then sales page, 540 days. Again, I'm going to exclude anyone who's ever bought this course from me. I don't want to show them a lead generation ad again. And same with order confirmation page, 540 days. So if they've made it as far as the sales page or the order confirmation, I don't really want to be showing them a lead generation ad. So these are the lists I'll be excluding pretty much across the board, unless it's some type of retargeting campaign. As far as the channels go, I kind of mentioned, but you can create a list of people who viewed any video from your channel, or if they've just viewed certain videos. So maybe you have a popular video about a certain topic that's related to your course. Maybe you just want to target people who have watched that particular video. Or maybe you want to target people who have seen your video as an ad. Maybe they saw the ad, but they didn't opt in. You could show them the ad again or show them a different ad. And you do that by creating a list of people who've seen those ads. So that's like the getting ready stuff. Now we're going to get into some stuff that's a little more exciting, I think. We're going to get into actually setting up the campaign and targeting. So let me first talk about structure. So there's a certain structure that you'll need to get used to if you're working with Google ads or YouTube ads at all. So at the top of that structure is the campaign. Beneath that, you're going to have ad groups. And then beneath that, you'll have ads. So you'll have multiple campaigns. Within each campaign, you will have multiple ad groups. And then within each ad group, you will have your ads. So the campaign, this is where you're going to find big differences. So ad types. So you'd have separate campaigns for in-stream ads versus discovery ads, for example. Locations. So I wouldn't get too granular with this. Like, you don't need a separate campaign for every state, but you can look at different countries here and possibly set up a different campaign for different countries. And I actually only do that if there's big differences in performance. Like with Dan's campaign, the United States performs about the same as Australia. So there's not really a reason to split those out. But then if we were targeting the United Kingdom, that performs a lot differently. So that's when I would set up a separate campaign just targeting the UK. Also with the campaign, this is where you would have different targeting methods for different campaigns. And I'll get to the targeting methods here shortly. But I split those different targeting methods up into their own campaigns. And then I also split up ads into their own campaigns. So each campaign is basically using one video. Sometimes if I'm testing a new video, I'll throw it into an existing campaign just to see if it's going to work. But ultimately, if a video is working, I want a separate campaign for that video. So as you can imagine, you might have a lot of campaigns here. You'd have campaigns for different videos in combination with different targeting methods. And that's fine. You're going to do better by splitting some of these things out and actually having multiple campaigns. But that's what the big differences are going to happen at the campaign level. At the ad group level, you'll have smaller differences. So like specific types of targeting. So I'll get to this shortly, but let's say we have a campaign using topic targeting. Well, within that campaign, then I would have an ad group for each different topic that I'm targeting. I would also have an ad group for each type of device. So this is mobile versus computer. Those are probably going to perform much, much differently. So you want to split those up. So I'll have a mobile ad group for a certain type of targeting, and then I'll have a computer ad group for a certain type of targeting. And then if I'm using a different type of targeting, I'll have a mobile and a computer ad group for that. So those are some of the smaller differences. And then at the ad level, I'm really only using one ad per ad group, so it actually just looks like this. So that's the basic structure of the of YouTube ads. So now let me get into step by step how you're going to set this up. And there's actually 2 stages I'm going to cover, because the second stage is going to work better, but you can't start with the second stage. And I'll explain why when we get to that. But you have to start with this first stage and let your account build up some data and some activity. So here's where you're going to start. Click on campaigns. And then here we go into add a new campaign. From there, we select video campaign and then create your campaign without a goal. Select a standard video campaign and click continue. So now some settings within this campaign. So you need to determine a budget, and you're going to set the budget as a daily budget. I can't tell you exactly what to start with. It's kind of up to you and how aggressive you want to be. Usually I would shoot for at least $50 a day to start a new campaign. That should give you some data pretty quickly. But if you only want to spend $5 or $10 a day, that's fine too. But if you're going to be paying $5 or $10 a lead, you might, it might take a while to really figure out what's going on. So spend as much as you're comfortable with here on a daily basis. Delivery method should be standard. For bidding strategy, we're going to select the top option, minimum or maximum CPV, which stands for cost per view. Notice the bottom option here, target CPA, is grayed out. We can't select that right now. And that's what I meant when I said we have to set up a stage 1 campaign right now. We have to select this maximum CPV campaign. Later, we will be able to set up a campaign using target CPA, but we will not have that option until we've had some conversions. So CPA is cost per acquisition. Google is going to assist us in hitting a target cost per acquisition, but it can't do that until we've had some leads coming through the campaign. So we need to start with maximum cost per view. For networks, for in-stream ads, this is the only network that should be selected. Make sure you're not selecting the bottom option, video partners on the display network. Those I haven't ever found to work at all. So just make sure this middle option is the only one selected. The top option, YouTube search results, that would only work for a discovery campaign. So in-stream, just select the middle option. Languages, you only want to select one language. Okay, if you have a product and you're trying to target people in different languages, you should have separate videos, separate landing pages for every language. Just select one language. Locations, here's where you can enter whatever locations you want to target. For this example, we'll just target the United States. So beneath that, then you'll see this inventory type. And this is going to be based on the content of the videos that you want to run ads on. So you can see with standard inventory, your ad might exclude things like repeated strong profanity or sexual content or violence. If we do limited inventory, it would exclude your ad from running on more types of videos. Expanded inventory pretty much doesn't block anything. So this is kind of up to you. Like, do you want your ad running on videos that have sexual content or violence or whatever? But it also, I pretty much always use standard inventory. I also try to consider the mindset of somebody who's going to watch a video of like people getting killed by trains or something. like that's not someone that I really want to be watching my ad right now. Whether or not they might be a good customer, in that moment, they don't give a shit about whatever I'm trying to sell them. They are focused on watching some weird, gory stuff. Okay. So standard inventory I've found is pretty good for, just targeting normal videos. You'll exclude some of the real crazy stuff that's on YouTube, but you're not going to block too much using this selection. Excluded content is beneath that, and this goes in a little more detail. So if you want to exclude certain types of videos, you would check these boxes here. So again, you can think of the mindset of someone who might be watching one of these videos in the moment. This is pretty much how I always set up a campaign, is I'm excluding these types of videos. Profanity and rough language isn't a big deal, but this other stuff just isn't a good fit for what we're trying to sell somebody. Here is where we can exclude some more things, and we should. So in the left column, we want to exclude our ad from running in embedded videos, live streaming videos, and games. You could exclude, if you look at the right column, you could exclude videos based on their rating. I've never worried about that, but that would be an option for you too, if you feel like you only want your ad running on videos with certain types of ratings. At the bottom here, then, you want to make sure to click additional settings. So Google likes to hide things like this from us. And while you're setting up a campaign, you need to make sure you pay attention to every little link that they show you, or things are going to slip by and you'll end up doing things the way Google wants you to, which usually isn't the way that we really should be doing them. So here's one of those things you need to make sure you find, is this little additional settings drop down. And here is where we can implement frequency capping. So in this example, I'm capping the frequency at 4 impressions per day and 1 view per day. So that means, and that's per campaign. So that means someone might see the video 4 times. They might skip it all 4 times. They're not going to see it a 5th time. Okay, an impression is counted immediately. Whether they skip it or not, that counts as an impression. Once they view that video, let's say they viewed it the first time they saw it, they viewed at least 30 seconds of it. Now they're not going to see that again because I've limited the view frequency to 1 view per day. And you can play around with this. You can do it based on like per week or per month frequencies. This is one thing you can do later. Let's say you have a campaign that's really working well and you want to get more traffic. Well, you can go in here and increase your frequency and try to get more traffic from people who maybe are watching your ad multiple times. Below that, you see the ad schedule option. For the most part, you're not going to need to worry about this, but maybe you're trying to run ads for a web, like your first webinar, and it's at a specific time or something. You can set a schedule here so that your ads would stop running at a certain time on a certain day. But for evergreen webinar, the schedule isn't going to matter. I would just run it all day long. Bottom right then, click skip ad group and ad creation. We could keep scrolling down now and create our ad groups and create our ad, but the Google system is really good at like refreshing and updating itself, and then you lose all of your work. So I like to save as much as possible. And the first chance we have to save is right here. So if we skip the ad group creation, now we can save and continue. And now we've saved everything we just did. Now I'll go into create an ad group. So creating an ad group, you'll need to give the ad group a name If it's your first campaign, your first ad group, the name doesn't matter too much. Once you start setting up more campaigns, you're just going to figure out a naming scheme that kind of works for you. The names should describe what's going on within the campaign or within the ad group. In this case, you see I've put mobile in parentheses. That's because this is going to be my mobile ad group. After I'm done with this, I'll show you how to set up the computer ad group. But for starters, this is just going to be my mobile ad group. Within demographics, you see there are genders, ages, parental status, and household income options. The household income stuff, don't worry about that. I've never seen that make any difference in anything. I don't think Google has any idea what anybody's income is. So ignore that. But these other things, if you have a product that's just for men or just for women, then you would only check that box. So if your product is just for women, you would only select female, you'd uncheck male, you'd uncheck unknown. Now, what you'll find is about half of the available traffic is actually unknown. So at a certain point, you may want to add that in. So even though at that point, your ad might be getting shown to men and women, it might be worth it because you're going to be missing out on half of the available women from seeing your ad if you're not including unknown. But to start out with, if you have a specific demographic group, gender or age group, I would select only that group. Don't select any other groups. Don't select unknown. The audience targeting below that, I'll get to that later. Below that, you'll see keywords, which I'll get to later, and topics, which I'll get to later. What I'm going to focus on now are placements. So placements are going to be the main type of targeting you want to focus on when you're starting out. And this is really the key to making this all work. I've seen YouTube trainings from some other people. They don't really stress placement targeting. And that tells me that they haven't really run a lot of traffic through YouTube. Because far and away, placement targeting is what's going to work best. It's going to give you the best ROI, pretty much no matter what type of ads you're running, whether you're selling courses or selling physical products of some sort. Placements are where it's at. And what that is specific YouTube channels or specific YouTube videos. You're going to put the links to those channels or videos in here, and then that is where your ads are going to run. They're only going to run on those specific videos that you select. So how do we find placements? Well, we basically want to figure out what videos are my audience going to be watching on YouTube. So I'm going to use an example here of a wedding photography course. So someone who might be teaching wedding photographers how to make more money. So to find videos that wedding photographers might be watching, I can come here to YouTube and do a keyword search for wedding photography. And then we see a list of videos here. And you can see that probably a lot of these videos are actually being watched by wedding photographers. Sure, some of them might be getting watched by like a bride who wants to dictate how her wedding shoot goes. But for the most part, these are probably going to be watched by wedding photographers, right? So if we're selling a product to those people, these are going to be great videos to target. To get the links, you would just right-click on the thumbnail and copy the link address. Now let's go into one of those videos. And then from there, we can go into the channel. So I'm going to go into a channel that so someone's video came up. They have a popular video about wedding photography. I want to go to that person's channel to see, are all their videos like that, or do they just have a couple of videos about that? So here is the first channel I go to, Dan Watson, 97,000 subscribers. One thing to note is that YouTube will show you related channels here. This is a really good spot to find more channels that you should check out and see if they're worth targeting. So don't ignore this part. This is very valuable, this related channels. But to research this specific channel, I want to go to videos up here, and that's going to take me to this person's videos. So we can see a lot of videos about like cameras and gears and reviews like that. Now, I'm not really familiar with the wedding photography industry. These might be okay videos to target. Of course, these are going to be targeting photographers in general, maybe a lot of hobbyists. I don't know for sure, but if we were to target this entire channel, these are the types of videos our ad would be in front of, would be these different camera review videos. Let's look at a different channel. So here is another channel that came up when I did the initial search for wedding photography. And you can see this guy has a lot of videos about just wedding photography and travel photography. He's not necessarily reviewing a bunch of cameras. So this looks like a very good channel to target if I'm trying to get an ad in front of wedding photographers. Now, one thing to note is that when you're looking at a channel like this, you want to look for outliers. So when I first go in here, it's going to show me the most recent videos. If we sort here by views, this will show me the videos with the most views. And you can see the very top left video is about how to win at slot machines every time. So if we're targeting this guy's channel, we want to make sure to exclude that video. The video below that, a Porsche 911 road trip across America, that doesn't really have anything to do with photography. So we'd want to exclude that video. But in general, this guy's channel looks like it'd be a pretty good channel to target, right? So some other ideas for finding videos to target. As you're typing this stuff in YouTube, they're going to show you some predictive results. And you can do a separate search for all of these things. So wedding photography tips, wedding photography tutorial, all of these probably have probably a lot of the same videos, but also a lot of different videos. And you can start to compile a pretty big list of videos to target. Once you get a hang of this, you're probably going to want to hire someone to do this for you. It can be pretty time consuming. I have my own software that I've had developed just for myself that does this. I think there's some other software like that around that you can find, but it is going to be fairly tedious. So once you know the types of videos you're trying to find, I would get this off your plate, because you should end up with several hundred placements. At this point in Dan's campaigns, I have about 20,000 specific video placements that we are targeting. So once you have a list here, so you're going to compile the list of channels and videos. You can see the top link here is for that channel, and then the rest of these links are for specific videos. Now we'll take that list back to the Google Ads interface, click multiple placements, and then we can paste that whole list in right here. And then be sure to click this, add the placements. So that'll move them over into the added column. And you can see that once you do that, the names of the videos show up so you know you've targeted the right videos. Now, a note here, and I don't think anybody else really knows this. I kind of figured this out. But you're going to get more traffic by targeting every individual video from a channel versus targeting the entire channel. So yes, you can just add a link to a channel and target that, and you will get some traffic from that channel. But if you actually go through that channel and add every individual video from that channel, you'll actually get more traffic, like a lot more, like 5 to 10 times more traffic. I'm not sure why that is. It's just how it works. So even though you're targeting a whole channel, Google, I don't know, they just don't show the ad as much. But if you're targeting every individual video, it's more likely that your ad is going to be shown. So over time, you're going to want to put in that time and actually get every individual video link from those channels that you want to target. So bidding then, again, we're doing maximum cost per view bidding. And usually about 10 cents is going to be okay. Somewhere between 5 cents and 20 cents per view is what you'll probably be paying. You will probably pay more per view on computers than on mobile. But about 10 cents per view is a good place to start. You can adjust this up or down however you need to. And then here again, in order to save what I just did, I'm going to skip the ad creation and save. And then it'll ask me what ad format I'm going to use. So I'll select in-stream and save. So now I have this, this ad group. So one thing I need to do now that I wasn't able to do during that initial setup is, so what I need to do first, so this is the ad group dashboard. So if I have multiple ad groups, they're all going to be listed here. To go into a specific ad group, I am just going to click on the name of that ad group here. Now, once I'm in this ad group, you can see on the left column, the ads and extensions section is what's highlighted. That's the section I'm in now. But what I want to do is go to devices. So this is something that we can only adjust after we've set up a campaign or after we've set up an ad group. So if we go in here, you can see there are TV screens, tablets, mobile phones, and computers. From what I've found, TV screens and tablets are completely worthless. So I want to adjust those by a negative 100%. You adjust the bids in this column here. There'll be a pencil that pops up that you click. Also then, since this is going to be my mobile campaign, I want to adjust the computers by a negative 100% also. So I'm going to adjust all those, and then you see that the only thing I'm left with now are mobile phones. Now I'm going to go back to ads and extensions up here. And this is where we can create the ad. So the first thing to do in creating an ad is to enter your video URL. So you'd upload your ad to YouTube. You'd usually make it unlisted so that it's not going to show up unless you're targeting somebody with it. But then you grab that URL and paste it over here, and then it'll pull up your video. So for this, I'm using an example from udemy.com. This is an actual in-stream ad that they are running. Right here is where we put the landing page address. Make sure the HTTP is set correctly. Your website probably should be HTTPS, so make sure that is what's selected here. And then below that is the display URL. So that's the URL that's actually going to appear in the ad itself. So if you see we enter the final URL is that long udemy.com URL. But then udemy.com is just what we're showing in the ad. So the shorter version of that. And then here is where we add the call to action. Again, Google says this is optional. This is absolutely not optional. You need to add this. So what this is, so if you look at the preview on the right side here, you see that blue button that says call to action. So before that, before we check that box, that button didn't exist. The only way to actually get to the website would be to click on somewhere in the video and then click through a link that way, but it's not very clear how to do that. You've probably seen a lot of older ads where they're like telling you to click on the screen of the video. And we actually have an ad like that for Dan that we're still using because it's working. But we don't need to do that anymore because of this call to action. So you see that added, the blue button that someone can click on. Below that is where we enter the call to action text and the headline text. So the call to action is going to be the words that show up on the button. And then the headline is going to show up next to the button. So if we put save 75% as the call to action, that shows up on the button. If learn now is the headline, that shows up next to the button. You can see that in the preview. Now, if I toggle over to the desktop preview, this is how it looks on desktop. So on mobile here, this button is below the ad while it's running. On desktop, or if someone flips their phone sideways, you can see that the call to action button actually comes over the top of the video now. So it'll be a big thing like this that comes out at the beginning. As the video starts playing, it'll get a little smaller, but it'll still be something people can click on. Now on desktop, you also see this spot up here for a banner. If we scroll down the page a little bit, we can add a banner. So I would not recommend using an auto-generated banner. I would actually make a banner for this, 300 by 60 pixels. You can use Canva or Snappa or something and do it yourself. It's not a huge deal. I've tested a lot of different banners and stuff, and the banner isn't going to really give you a huge difference in performance. So don't worry too much about like hiring a professional to make a banner for you. But once you have a banner, you would upload that here. So for this example, I'm using the actual banner Udemy used in their ad. I wouldn't go this far. I wouldn't just like put a logo in your banner. I'd make it somewhat interesting, like a headline. Or the banner we have for Dan that's working pretty well is it's a series of like 3 video thumbnails where it almost looks like you could click the thumbnail and a video would play. That banner is working pretty well. It doesn't say anything on it. It just has those thumbnails. And it doesn't need to say anything because right below that is where you have your headline and your button. So the banner could just be images. You could put a headline. Whatever you want to do, that's where you'd add it. So this is the ad. So this is actually the ad that I found on YouTube. This is the ad that we just created. So that's exactly how you would set up an ad that looks just like this on YouTube. And then you'd give the ad a name and save it. Once we do that, then the ad is going to show up here. You can see to the right of the thumbnail is the status column, and it says under review. Sometimes your ad will get approved within a couple minutes. Sometimes it might take a few days. It just kind of depends. If you have something that you know you're going to want to start on a certain day, I would not wait until that day to set up your ad. go ahead and set it up ahead of time, make sure it gets approved. Then once it's approved, you can just turn it off and on whenever you want to run the ad. So that's it for the mobile ad group. At that point, our ad would start running. We have targeting, we have a video. The ad is going to start running as soon as that gets approved by the folks over at Google. So now let's create the computer version of this ad group. Now you could go through and just repeat the steps I just took to create the mobile ad, but you don't need to do that. Instead, we can just copy and paste the ad group. So to get there, we need to navigate around a little. You see this little arrow here. If you click this, it'll open up the navigation menu for your account. So you can see now this video number 1 mobile ad group is what's highlighted. That's the ad group I'm in right now. If I want to see the higher level view of my ad groups, I need to click on the campaign. So I'll click on the campaign name, and then I'll click on the ad groups section. And now this will show me all the ad groups I have in this campaign. So from here, I can select this ad group. And then you can just do Control-C and Control-V to copy and paste. It'll ask you if you want to pause the ad group once it's pasted. You don't need to do that. You can just paste it. The ad isn't going to be approved immediately anyway. So if I paste that, now I have a second ad group, which is now completely identical to the first ad group I created. It has the same targeting. The same video ad is going to be in there. It's all the same. So I'm going to change the name of the ad group by clicking the edit pencil. I'll change that to computer. And then go, well, let me mention this first. So here is where you could change the bidding for these ad groups. So right now we're bidding 10 cents per view on both ad groups. You may want to bid a little more on computer. Computer traffic is going to be more expensive. It's going to cost more, but it's probably going to convert better also when it actually comes to making sales. Someone who opts in on a computer, they're more likely to watch the webinar right away. It's just, they're going to be more likely to convert. So it's actually worth paying more for that traffic. And this is where you can adjust those bids, is right here. So moving on, in order to create the computer ad group, I just go into the ad group, go into devices, and then instead of negative 100% on computers, I'm going to do negative 100% on mobile. So that's it. So now we have a separate mobile ad group and we have a separate computer ad group. So now that we have those, what we want to do is exclude some traffic from the campaign. And this ties back into the audiences that I was talking about at the beginning of this presentation. Now we're going to make use of those audiences. So we want to make sure to get back to the campaign level view. So on the left column here, click the name of the campaign. So now you can see that campaign is highlighted. I can go to audiences here and then exclusions up here. Okay, now if I add an audience here, it's going to exclude that from the whole campaign. It'll exclude it from both ad groups that are within the campaign. So we can actually exclude a lot here, but what you're pretty much going to focus on are your remarketing lists. Now it says here that you could exclude similar audiences. You actually can't. It should not say that. That's not an option, but you can and should exclude certain audiences. So from an opt-in campaign, these are the audiences I would exclude. Anyone who's hit the thank you page at all, so that they've already opted in. I don't want to show them my lead generation ad for a cold lead generation campaign. Same with the sales page and the order confirmation page. I'm excluding all of these audiences from a cold lead generation campaign. Now there's more, you might already be thinking of other things you might want to do with this. Maybe someone opted in, but they didn't watch the webinar, and you want to try to get them to opt in for a new time. Well, then you have to set up these audiences a little bit differently. But just for a cold lead generation campaign, this is what I would exclude. So a couple other things I want to show you here, and we're almost done with stage 1. In this navigation on the left here, if you click all campaigns, it's going to take you to a top level view of your account. So if you click all campaigns, and then here you need to click campaigns, and it'll show you a list of all your campaigns. This is where you're going to be spending a lot of time. When I log into an account, this is what I'm looking at, is the list of all the campaigns. And then I'll go into specific campaigns to do whatever I'm working on. This column, or this link here, columns, you can add different data columns. So I'm not going to get into all that, but this is where you would add like your conversion value. So in order to know if your campaigns are actually generating sales and not just leads, you need to look at your conversion value. In order to do that, you need to add the conversion value column. And there's a bunch of other columns there too you can take a look at. That's all within that columns button. Right here is where you can pause the campaign or turn the campaign back on. Right now there's a green dot. That means the campaign is active. Interestingly, you can actually run a YouTube ad with somebody else's video to somebody else's website. And I think I spent about $100 running that Udemy ad before I actually realized I forgot to turn the campaign off. So if you don't want your campaign to start right now, make sure you pause it right here. So that's stage 1. So what we're basically doing with this stage is proving that our ads are going to work. You're proving that your offer will work. And if you have an offer that's working on Facebook or something, it should work on YouTube. There's no reason it wouldn't. But we're starting to get that data. We're seeing how profitable the campaign is going to be. And then we're actually feeding Google's artificial intelligence the data it needs to start helping with stage number 2. So stage number 2 is when we can start using Google's AI to our benefit. We're not going to let the machine take over for us. We need to work with the machine, but we can start to benefit from Google's algorithms, from their machine learning, and this is when we can really start to scale. So stage 2, we've generated some leads and sales, and now we're ready to start scaling. So we're going to set up a new campaign. Okay, so from the campaigns tab, I'll click the add campaign button. This time we're going to select leads as the goal. We'll select video campaign, and then target CPA bidding is what we use now. I think you only need like 30 conversions or something before Google lets you start using this option. I'd recommend waiting till you get more, like maybe 100 or 200 leads at least, because of course, the more data you feed Google's AI, the better it's going to be. with only 30 leads, it's not really going to know enough to really help you very much. Once you get a few hundred leads, it can be pretty effective. So even though this option might appear for you after you've only had a handful of leads, I'd still wait until you have at least 100, maybe 200 leads from the other campaign, from the cost per view campaign. But now we can select target CPA. You would enter an amount here that you want Google to try to find conversions for. This should be based on whatever you were paying with your cost per view campaign. So if you're paying $10 per opt-in over there, then your target CPA here should be $10, okay? If you put an amount here that's too low, Google's not going to send you any traffic, really. If you're getting $10 a lead with your original campaign, you can't expect to get $5 a lead right away. Maybe eventually you can get to that. But if you put that as your target, you're just not going to get traffic because Google's going to realize that they can't really get you leads for $5. If you put a higher amount, that's an option too. That'll be a little more aggressive. This campaign might start getting some traffic and some traction a little more quickly. So if you were getting $10 leads earlier, maybe you'd bid $15 or $20 per lead. You can always adjust this later. So if you're hitting your budget while bidding $20 per lead, well, now you can start to bring that down to $15 or $10 per lead. So you can always change this later, but just know that this should be somewhat in line with what you've already gotten up to this point. All the other steps then are the same as the stage 1 setup. So everything I showed you in the first part, you'd go back and go through all those steps again. In this case, you can't copy and paste and change the bidding option. You actually do need to set up a new campaign. So go through the steps I showed you earlier until you have that campaign set up. So now we have our 2 campaigns. We have the original cost per view campaign and then the new cost per acquisition campaign. Both campaigns should still just be targeting placements. So if essentially we have the same campaign right now, they're targeting the same videos. In one instance, we're paying per view. In the other instance, we're doing a target cost per lead. We're actually still paying per view there. Whether or not Google can get you leads for what you're bidding doesn't matter to them. You have to pay no matter what. But you are targeting a certain cost per lead with that campaign. What I do now then is just let both campaigns run at the same time. Send your traffic to both campaigns. At some point, the CPA campaign will probably start performing better, and then you can turn off the CPV campaign. It might take a little while to get there though, so that's why you want to just run both campaigns at the same time, because if you are getting leads and sales from your original campaign, you don't want to sacrifice that and then hope that Google's AI can do a better job, because that might take a while. It might take a few weeks or a couple months for the system to start getting leads at a cheaper cost than you were getting them before. But it should happen eventually. So once that happens, then you would turn off the CPV campaign and just focus on the CPA campaign. And I do see some questions are popping up. I haven't looked at them, but I will make a point to get to all those at the end of this presentation. So now what we have is one campaign running. We have our CPA campaign running. Now what we can do is start testing more targeting options. And the rest of the targeting options we have are not as effective as placement targeting. So that's why we haven't started with those. We want Google to learn who is going to opt into our ad with the most effective targeting possible. So then once we start targeting these other options, these other types of targeting, Google will be able to help us with that. So even though that targeting isn't as good, we're going to be able to get some help over there, because that's how we're really going to scale. If you are just adding placements, it should work well, but it's going to be hard to scale. I mentioned that we have about 20,000 placements targeted right now for Dan. That's only spending about $1,000 a day of the budget. The rest of the budget is coming from these other targeting options. So to do that, what we can actually do is just copy the CPA campaign and paste it, and then change the targeting. So again, you could go through all the steps to set up the campaign, but we don't need to do that. You can copy and paste it, and then just alter the targeting. So the first example here is going to be keyword targeting. Now, before I get into the how-to of that, let me just talk about targeting a little bit, and I'll show you the basic sequence that I follow. So placement targeting is the key here. This is going to work the best. This is the key to making all of this work. This is where you start. The only other thing you might start with at the same time would be remarketing. If you have a good remarketing list, you could use that type of targeting also, but really placements is where we're going to start. From there, we can branch out to these options. And depending on what you're selling, there's not one that might necessarily work better. These might all work about the same. One of them might work better, but I can't tell you which one because it depends on what you're doing specifically. So I would set up campaigns for all 4 of these at the same time, and then start to see what's going to work and what's not going to work. And I'm going to get into each of these and what they mean here in a little bit. But I'll go through the rest of the sequence here first. Custom intent and custom affinity are a couple other options. These can work okay. Basically what you're doing is adding a list of keywords or a list of URLs, and then Google's trying to find people who are similar to the people who visit those websites, for example. It sounds great. It sounds like, if you have a competitor's URL that you wanted to target, that you would just add that and it would work great. It really doesn't work that well. It's pretty hit or miss. If it does work, it usually doesn't scale very well anyway. So I wouldn't worry too much about these. I'm not even going to be covering these in the presentation. And then lastly, we have similar audiences. Again, this sounds great. Google's similar audiences do not work as well as Facebook's. They really don't work at all. I've never been able to get these to work. So don't worry too much about similar audiences. Don't let it stress you out too much. You'll get plenty of good traffic from the other targeting options I'm going to be showing you. So let's start with keywords. So here's Google's definition of keyword targeting. Show your video ads based on words or phrases related to a YouTube video, YouTube channel, or type of website that your audience is interested in. So this is a pretty broad definition. And in fact, the keyword targeting is pretty broad. If you were to add a keyword like wedding photography, your ad would potentially show on videos or channels about wedding photography. Or maybe someone was browsing websites about photography, and Google knows that. So that person would potentially see your ad if you use that keyword. Or if they were on Google searching for stuff about about wedding photography, and now they're on YouTube watching cat videos, you would potentially be putting your ad in front of that person too. So it's both based on the topics of the videos and whatever else people might have been doing online. So to set this up, we've already copied and pasted our placement targeting campaign. I've renamed it keywords. You can see, let's see, why was I showing you that? Oh yeah, so you can see in the top left, now this new keyword campaign is showing up in the navigation. In order to add keywords, we have to do it at the ad group level. You can see also both of the ad groups in this campaign are listed here. Now we can get to the ad group by clicking on the name of the ad group right here. So that takes me into the ad group. Then I want to go to keywords. And now I can click the blue button to add keywords. So here is where I would add a list of keywords. So where do we get keywords? Well, I really like to get keywords from videos. So from the placement videos that I've already been running, I'm going to look at which videos have been getting a lot of leads or a lot of sales. And I'm going to see which keywords we can draw from those. So let's say these are some videos that we've been running and we've been getting leads from these videos. Well, one kind of a trick here I haven't heard anyone else talk about is that you can actually put the names of your competitors as keywords, and this actually works pretty well. And then you'd also just put keywords like you would normally think of them. So if we look at this list here, we see like wedding photography, behind the scenes, wedding photography tips and tricks. So we can list all of those here as keywords. Now, if you're familiar with Google Ads, you may be aware of the different keyword match types like exact match and phrase match. Those do not have any effect on Google Ads or on YouTube ads. So when you're adding keywords to a YouTube campaign, it's just going to look like this. You're not going to have brackets or quotation marks or anything like that. You can also get some more ideas here from the system. So here, if you were to enter a keyword or something, it'll show you some additional ideas for keywords you might want to target. You can also enter a website here. So you can enter your own website. You can enter a competitor's website. Another really cool thing you can do is actually enter a YouTube video URL. So if you have a YouTube video that's working really well, you can put that URL right here. As in, like, you have a video that you're targeting in your placement campaign that's working well. So you could put that here. Google's going to list all these different keyword options for you. So you can look through that and see if there's anything that you would want to add from that list and just click those plus signs. So once we save that, then you'll see these keywords are listed here. We're going to be able to eventually see how much we're spending on each keyword, what our cost per lead is for each keyword, how many sales we're making from each keyword, and then we can optimize accordingly, of course. So if you're spending a bunch of money on a keyword and you're not getting any leads, you can turn that off. Now, the last thing we need to do is, since we've copied and pasted this from the placement campaign, we need to go in and remove the placements. So we go over here to the placements section, click the top box, which will highlight all of them, edit, and remove. Okay, so now we've removed the placements all we are targeting are keywords. And you're going to want to do that step for all of the other types of targeting I'm about to show you. Okay, if you've copied and pasted a campaign, make sure you go, whatever you're copying from, you want to get rid of that. Hopefully that makes enough sense. If it doesn't, just start every campaign from scratch and build it from the ground up. So the next type of targeting I'll talk about is topics. So this is where you're showing your ads on videos related to the topics you select. So this doesn't have anything to do with what someone might have been searching for on Google earlier today. It's only going to be videos related to the topics that you select. So to get to the topic option, we'd click topics over here. And then you can see the list of topics. So these are all predefined topics that Google gives us as an option. You can usually find a few topics that would fit for whatever you're selling. It's possible you won't. So if you're targeting a pretty niche audience for something, maybe none of these topics would make sense for you and you just wouldn't set up a topic campaign. But you want to look through this and see what you can find. So you can expand these categories and you see they can get pretty specific. So within business and industrial, we have advertising and then marketing and then direct mail marketing or email marketing. You can also just search up here for certain keywords or URLs. I find URLs are pretty good when it comes to searching here. So either your website address or a competitor's website. So if we go back to that wedding photographer, Taylor Jackson, this is his website. If we enter that in here, we're going to see a bunch of topics related to weddings and photography and all that type of stuff. So these could potentially be topics that you would add to target. I mentioned earlier, I would add one topic per ad group. So if you want to add all 7 of the topics I have selected here, I would actually just do it one at a time. So I'd have one ad group targeting weddings, and that would actually be 2 ad groups because there'd be the computer ad group and the mobile ad group. And then I'd have 2 separate ad groups targeting the anniversaries topic and so on. So that's topics. In market then is a little bit different. This is customers who are in the market, which means that they're researching products and are actively considering buying a service or product. So this is going to be based on what people are searching, the types of websites they're browsing. So Google is watching everyone, of course, so they know what you're researching online. To get to the in-market audiences, we'd click here under audiences. And then here is where in-market audiences are. I'll mention that within this, we see life events. So there are some things in here like business creation or graduating from college. There are just a handful of these life event options right now. If you're targeting people who are in one of these groups, then I would add that and see how that does. But there really aren't many of these life event options right now. Most of the in-market options are in this in-market group right here. And again, just like with topics, these are predefined lists. Google has made these lists for us. So it's not like Facebook where we can target like people who are fans of a magazine or people who are part of some association or something like that. It's much more limited because Google has defined these audiences for us. and sometimes nothing really fits with what we're trying to sell. But again, here we can expand these to look for something that fits our business. You can search for a keyword or a website address here. So I put the taylorjacksonblog.com again right here, and we see the event photographers and studios. What that actually means is people who are in the market for hiring an event photographer, or people who are in the market for wedding planning. So these people probably are not wedding photographers themselves. And there might not, I didn't look through all of the audiences, but there might not be a good in-market audience if we're trying to reach wedding photographers. And again, here, if you find multiple audiences that you want to add, I would set up separate ad groups for each of them. And then affinity here, this is people who already have a strong interest in relevant topics. So whereas in market is more in the moment, like people just within the last couple of weeks might be researching something, affinity is more of a long-term interest. So you might think of someone who has an affinity for baseball or an affinity for stamp collecting or something. This is a long-term interest of theirs. And of course, Google knows this stuff. So we get there also by going to audiences and then going to this option here, affinity, right here. So again, these are predefined audiences. There may or not be something that fits for what you're selling, but you want to search and see if there is. So for our wedding photography example, these are the most relevant results Google can come up with based on the website address. So Shutterbugs, maybe, I'm sure people who do photography for a living are probably in that group. There are certainly going to be other hobbyists within that group too. So you just would have to try it and see if you're able to get good leads or not. That's why we want to make sure Google can help us with that, because there's still a lot of data they have behind the scenes where if we're using target CPA bidding, they can help to make sure we're getting leads at a reasonable cost, even if we're targeting an audience like this, where half the audience might be irrelevant to us. So some other audiences. So if we go into remarketing here, and then who they are, detailed demographics, you can see a couple options here. So parental status, we've seen that earlier. You can also see marital status, education, home ownership status. So if your product is only for married men or something like Garrett White, maybe he would want to only target people who are married, or at least exclude people who are single. And you would do that here in this detailed demographics section. And then up here again is where you could exclude any of these audiences that we've talked about here. An important thing to note is that audiences do not stack. So let me try to explain this. So within this option here, within audiences, we have all these options. We have the detailed demographics, affinity, in-market, and remarketing. If you add any of these, it's an either or thing. So if you want to target someone with an affinity for golf who is also on your remarketing list, you can't do that. It would be either or. So these audiences do not stack on top of each other. But what does stack are any of these options. So if you added keywords and you added audiences, then your ad would only show to people who would trigger those keywords and who are in the audience. If you also added topics and placements, it would stack all of those things. So at that point, once you're stacking those things, it can get pretty limited. It's not really something I do a whole lot, but that's what happens if you're adding more than one of these 5 targeting options. The main thing you might stack here is the demographics. So you want to target only men who are interested in such and such a topic. That's what you'd stack more than anything. I would not stack keywords with topics, with placements, or anything like that. Okay, so last section here. And looks like we're doing pretty good on time. That's good. So now we're going to optimize and scale. So we've set up all of the main campaigns we're going to set up. I'm not going to be showing a whole lot of step-by-step stuff here right now. By the time you're doing this, you should have a pretty good feel for how the system works and where to do different things. But now we're going to start getting into to optimizing. So some things that you would do to start optimizing and scaling is keep testing new videos. That's probably the most important thing you can do, is to keep testing new videos. You can do a lot with just one video. You can get a lot of traffic, a lot of sales. At some point, and I haven't really reached that point yet. So with Dan's main video that's working the best, we haven't reached a point of burnout, but I assume it'll happen at some point, at least to some degree. I mean, there'll always be new people who develop an interest for what he's selling. But you want to consider that a video might not last forever. So you'd want to keep testing new videos, test new angles as much as you can. The more videos that you have that are working well, the better it's going to be. You're going to want to adjust your bids based on conversion cost and conversion value. So ultimately, this is what you need to pay attention to, is what is the value of your conversions. So for example, you might find that you've spent $1,000 on mobile and you've made one sale, or you've spent $2,000 and you've made one sale or two sales. Whereas over here on desktop, you've spent $1,000 and you've made 5 or 6 sales. Well, you want to look at what those differences are and then adjust your ad group bidding accordingly. So in that case, you would decrease your target for mobile leads. And then for desktop, depending on what type of ROI and profit you're trying to get, maybe you leave your bidding the same, or maybe now you want to increase your bidding so you get a lot more traffic. So of course, as you increase your bidding, your ROI will decrease, but you will be able to get a lot more traffic and scale a lot more. So maybe your profit will actually increase. So you need to be paying attention to all of this. And really the value, the conversion value is king. At the beginning, you kind of have to look at cost per lead because you're not going to get a lot of conversions right away. But eventually, you want to really be focusing on conversion value and getting as much traffic as you can from those high value producing targets, and then minimizing traffic from targets that are not producing value for you. So same thing as I was just kind of saying, you'll adjust things that are not working. So if you're targeting a placement and you've spent $30 on it and you haven't gotten a lead, and you're getting $10 leads somewhere else, well, maybe you just want to pause that placement. Worry about what's working, exclude what is not working. And then adding new placements. So this is huge. This is one of the most important things you're going to be doing. Even after that initial research, is you want to keep adding new placements. Now, once you're running a campaign, you can use the system to help you with this. So if you go to placements, and then you go up here to where ads showed, this will show you all of the channels that your ad showed up on. It unfortunately does not show you the specific videos that your ad was showing on. That would be great if it did, but it doesn't. It just is going to show you the channels your ad is showing on, but that can still be very helpful. So if you have a keyword campaign that's running and it's doing pretty well, you can go in here, look at which channels your ads are showing on, which channels are you getting leads and sales from, and then go into those channels and see if you want to target all of the videos in that channel or just specific videos from that channel, and then you add those to your placements campaign. Okay? So it's kind of a cycle. So you're going to use the where ads showed to find new placements, and then use placements to find new keywords. So I mentioned that earlier. You would look at the videos that are doing well for you and try to derive some keywords from the names of those videos. Well, you'd pay attention to that too on an ongoing basis. You'd look at which placements are doing well, keep adding new keywords to your keyword campaign. Okay, and then as you get more keywords in your keyword campaign, and as more time passes, you'll see more and more channels under the where ads showed section. Some other things to do for optimization is increase budgets, of course, and Google will tell you whether or not your budget is enough. So if you have a budget that's not high enough and Google thinks that you should be getting more traffic, it'll tell you that your ads are limited by budget. So you can go in and increase the budget. I would do this pretty slowly. Don't go in and double your budget right away. You know, maybe increase it by 5 to 10% per day at the most. You can increase the frequency cap. I mentioned that earlier. If a campaign is doing well, but you're only showing people the video once per day, well, maybe you increase that. So now they might see the video twice per day. You can add locations. You can try custom intent campaigns. You can try custom affinity campaigns, and you can try similar audience campaigns. Again, I wouldn't expect big things from these, but certainly worth giving them a try if you're at the point where you're just, things are going great, you're trying to milk as much as you can out of YouTube. And then you can also try video search and discovery campaigns. So I haven't talked about these at all since the beginning of the presentation, but it's certainly another thing. You will get a little bit of traffic from this, but don't spend any time on this until you've run out of things to do in your in-stream campaigns. The last thing I'll talk about is advanced remarketing campaigns. So you can set up different campaigns depending on what people may have already done within your funnel. So maybe they viewed an ad, but they didn't visit your website. At that point, we know that they had at least some interest in our ad. depending on how well we were targeting them. Maybe we want to show them an ad again, or show them a different ad, and try to get them to come to the website for the first time. Someone visited the opt-in page, but they didn't opt in. Again, we can show them the same ad again. We can show them a different ad, try to get them to come to the site again, but actually to opt in this time. Maybe they opted in, but they didn't view the webinar. They didn't make it to the sales page. There's another campaign we can run to target those people. And maybe they visited the sales page, but they have not purchased yet. We can target those people based on our remarketing list. So for all of these, we're targeting some list, and then we're excluding some other list, or we're excluding multiple lists, right? That's how these all work. The top three, these are all going to be lead generation. We're going to send these people to our opt-in page. So even if they've opted in already, but they didn't watch the webinar, and I wouldn't do that immediately. So for that particular instance, I would be excluding someone who opted in within the past 24 hours. But if they opted in more than a day ago and they haven't viewed the webinar yet, I want them to opt in again, because now they can choose a new time for the webinar and hopefully watch it this time. This last one, you're going to be sending people back to the sales page. They've already been to the sales page once. We don't want to send them through the webinar again. We want to bring them back to the sales page. And that is it. That's all. Are you still there, Dan?
I am.
Cool.
Whew, that was a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So impressive.
Yeah, Paul says this is like a $1,000 course right here. Thanks, Kyle. Awesome. Yeah, so that was a lot. I highly recommend that you guys go through all of that several times. You know, maybe as Kyle said, pause the video as you're setting things up, and whatnot like that. Do we have any of the videos? We could show a few of the videos as an example, and then maybe talk about that a little bit, and then go into Q&A.
Yeah, let me pull those up and figure out how to share them here. Just a second. Can you still see my slides right now, or are you looking
I can
at?
still see your slides.
Okay, perfect.
What is that acronym Drew just posted? IKOHOKP. Oh, I kneeled over, hands on knees, panting. That's funny.
Yeah, I'm just pulling these up.
Hopefully we can
You
hear
said this is a $1,000 course. I can give you my PayPal.
Yeah, if anybody would like to tip, listen, you tip your waiters, you tip your dancers, you should tip Kyle.
Okay, just another second and I'll have these up.
Yeah, so like I said, we'll take some questions after we show these, to make sure that we covered everything. Hope you guys enjoyed it so far, and we will of course take this and put it in the ads section of Sold Out Courses, so you guys can review it.
Okay, I'm just queuing up a couple videos. So as I'm doing this, I'll mention in the last 20 seconds of your video, if you have a YouTube, I think it's called a Premier Partner account or something, you have the option to put a link at the end of your video. In order to have that option, you need like 1,000 subscribers and a certain number of views. So if that's not the case, you probably won't be able to do that. But if you have that option, it is really awesome. So the video is playing and it is ending, and then you can put a link up at the end of the video. Plus, then YouTube, the ads are going to show your other link, your call to action link that you added. So it just gives people ample time to click on your link.
Now, would you say it's worth it to run ads, like assuming someone doesn't have the list? Because if you have a list and you email them and you say like something like I'll give you an example. We were able to grow our YouTube channel really fast because what I did was I emailed my list and said, hey, listen, I'm going to put out a video next week on this, right? And when I do that, the first 50 people that comment on that video, they're going to get a prize. And what we did was we sent them an ebook. It was my 7 things you don't need to be a millionaire. And that was the prize, right? And then first prize was a 20-minute consult with me for the first person to comment. So what I did was I said, listen, if you're the first person to comment, you're going to get this 20-minute consult. If you are one of the first 50 people, you'll get this ebook. And then if you comment in the first 24 hours, we'll send you something special. And we just ended up sending them the ebook. And the idea behind this is that if a lot of people comment and watch immediately when the video goes live, that helps the video ranking, but mainly to get subscribers. And the way we got subscribers was I said, the only way you're going to be able to have a remote chance of winning this is if you know the second the video is released. So what you want to do is you want to go to my YouTube channel and click subscribe and then turn on notification. What that'll do is it'll give you instant notification when the video drops so you can make an immediate comment. And so what I did was instead of saying, hey, subscribe to my YouTube channel, I framed it as a benefit to them, as a way for them to increase their chances of winning. And when I did that, we got 1,000 additional subscribers in literally like a day. And so that helped grow. And now it's been growing even faster just because when you get that influx, I think YouTube maybe starts showing your videos more, And so if you have a list, that's one thing you can do. But if you don't have a list, Kyle, would you recommend running a campaign that got you 1,000 subscribers right away? Or do you think that would be cost prohibitive?
I wouldn't do it just for the ability to put that link at the end.
Okay.
It's not that important. I mean, they're still going to have that link throughout the video. They're going to have the link for the last 7 seconds that pops up.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't do it just for that reason. There's probably other reasons to grow your YouTube channel.
Do you think they'll get 1,000 subscribers pretty quickly, naturally, just from running ads?
No, with in-stream ads, you're not really going to get any subscribers. Because there's nowhere to subscribe to you through the ad. The only thing we're trying to get them to do is go to your opt-in page. So you're not going to get subscribers through running these ads either.
Okay.
If you do like discovery ads, that could be a way to build some subscribers.
Okay, but probably how much do you think it would cost, assuming your content is good, to get 1,000 subscribers if you use discovery ads? Or is that kind of
I don't know.
Yeah, that Paul
Right.
made a good point. So when I send people to a subscribe link when I email my list, but I already had a list, so I'm not sure. Like if I wanted to build up subscribers real quick using ads, I'm not sure what the best way to do that would be. I mean, the way I would do it again is leverage my existing audience and try to get them to subscribe. But if you're starting from scratch, I know some people will be like, "Hey, how do I get those initial 1,000 subscribers so I can get that link?" I didn't know if you thought it was. I mean, if it's totally cost prohibitive, where you're going to pay like $5 a subscriber, then that's just not, it's just not worth it. But I didn't know if you offhand knew, you know.
No, I've never really done a campaign like that. I think
Okay.
we tried to do something like that for you, like way back. I don't remember what it was. It
Yeah,
was
I
like
vaguely remember
$4 or
that.
$5 per subscriber, I think.
Yeah, and that's just not worth it. Yeah, I think it'll naturally happen when you build up an audience and people follow you. It'll just naturally happen. But perhaps maybe retargeting people. Um, I would think like people that watched your ads, retarget them and maybe send them to a subscribe link with some sort of contest, like I mentioned before. That might be a way to do it, to bring that $4 to $5 per subscriber down. But then again, maybe even at $1 per subscriber, I would pay $1,000 to get that link, but not everybody else would. So, but then again, maybe I wouldn't if I had no following or audience. So I'd rather get the money. But all right, cool. So I just wanted to ask that and see if you had any thoughts on it. But yeah, it's probably cost prohibitive. So this is one of the top converting ones.
Yep.
All right, wow, 4.5 million views. That's crazy that video has 4.5 million views, and I only have how many subscribers do I have? Like 6, 7, 8,000, something
I
like
think
that.
you're up to like 8,000.
That's
And you can see
crazy.
there's like no comments on this. There's people are just finding their way into here to be able to thumbs up or thumbs down it. These are all paid views. And when you're paying for views, you can't just leave a comment or something like that.
That is crazy. Like I would think there would be some way to leverage that to grow the brand, but like maybe people that watch the video or something. That's just so many views. My God, holy shit. Okay, cool. Because do you see this ad right here, or not this ad, this video where it says I spent 100,000 on Facebook ads and this is what happened?
Yeah.
I really wanted that to go viral because there was this video I saw on YouTube that was called I spent $100 or $50 or something like that on Facebook ads, and this is what happened. And it was like it got millions and millions and millions of views. Now, it wasn't an ad; it was just like an organic thing. And I was like, well, let me see if I can be like. And even at the beginning of the video, I was like, hey, um, you know, I saw this video about spending $50. Well, I spent 100,000. So, I just thought I would give it a shot, but it only has 3.3 thousand views. And it's 29 minutes. So I don't know if maybe that has something to do with it, like as Michael just commented. But I would love to be able to make that go. I would spend a couple grand to at least try to make that go viral. But
Yeah,
again, you're the YouTube master, so I don't know if you think
I
that's
don't know. I'm not a master at making videos go viral.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah, I got you. Well, that's why most of my business is paid media. There's just too much variable in organic and viral. That's why I love paid media. But all right, 4.5 million views. So do you have audio on this that we can play this?
So I'm not sure. Let's see. Let me know if you can hear this. Can you hear that?
I cannot.
So maybe I just need to like put my microphone next to the speaker. I don't know. Is there a way? Does anyone know if there's a way to share?
Let me see something real quick. I might be able to do it. Zoom. Hold on. Internal Sunflower channel. Okay, I can. If you send me the video links, I can do it.
Okay. Well, here, maybe this will work. Let me know if you hear this. That work?
No, I know how to do it by changing the out. I have a special thing hooked up on my computer that allows me to make the speakers the internal sound. So if you send me the link to this video and then whatever the other two are, I can do it.
I'll put those in the chat.
I also love how everybody thinks you have to be so professional, dress professional in these videos. And I'm like wearing like a tank top and like a stupid hat. All right. Copy link.
I like this expression of you right now.
I always have the weirdest expressions.
Next 60 seconds.
All right. All right. 1 second. Let me go to sound. This will cut my mic off, but 1 second. Okay, output. All right.
Hey, Dan, I can't hear that at all.
All right, you guys couldn't
No.
hear that, I guess. Oh, wait 1 second. For a free training that I'm doing.
There, we just heard it. Yeah, we just heard that.
In the next 60 seconds, I'm going to show you exactly how you can get paid $1,000, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 a month to do something that literally takes 10 minutes and keep getting paid that over and over and over. Listen, have you ever seen these little Facebook ads on Facebook like this? Simple little ads, a few sentences, maybe a picture or a video. Well, believe it or not, these take about 10 minutes to set up. And this is one of my ads for one of my clients. This woman right here, Victoria, is a luxury realtor. She pays me $2,000 a month to run her ads so that she can get leads for her properties. And guess what? This took me 10 minutes to do. And I get paid $2,000 a month from her. If you would like to learn how to do this, even if you're a complete beginner, even if you've never run an ad on Facebook before, or you've never done any sort of marketing or anything, but you're looking for a real way to make money online, money now, not money in a month. I'm talking where you can make money, you can land a paying client in the next couple of days. If you're interested in that, then I'd like you to register for a free training that I'm doing. All you have to do is click the link, enter your name and email, and you'll register for the free training. I'm going to show you how to start a hyper-profitable online advertising agency, even if you've never done anything related to marketing before, okay? Time's running out. Make sure that you click the link, register, and I'll see you on the training.
So there's that link I was talking about where you have to have a Premier account to be able to put that there.
Dan Henry here, and in the next 60 seconds, I'm going to show you how this 15-year-old kid is making over $3,000 a month doing local business marketing. Now, what is local business marketing? Well, it's very simple. You have gyms, you have lawyers, you have doctors, you have real estate agents, you have restaurants, bars. All of these local businesses need more customers, and they are starving for them. So what you're going to do is you're going to create very simple little Facebook and Instagram ads. And these take only 10, maybe 15 minutes to throw together. And you're going to put them on Facebook and Instagram, and you're going to attract clients and customers for these local businesses. And these local businesses are going to pay you handsomely for this service. Most local business clients will pay anywhere from $500 to $3,000 a month. The average is $1,500. So you're going to get more gym members for gyms. You're going to get more buyers and sellers for real estate agents. You're going to get more people to eat at restaurants. You're going to get more people to drink at bars. You're going to get more people to go to the chiropractor. Joseph here has 5 clients that he charges $600 a month each. And all he does is spend about 10 minutes putting together a very simple Facebook ad or Instagram ad and getting more customers for this local business. Now, where did Joseph learn how to do this? Well, he learned how to do it from me. My name is Dan Henry, and I'm the founder of GetClients.com. And yes, I teach people how to change their lives, make more money, make more income by starting a local business marketing agency. Kind of like a modern day Mad Men without all the sex, alcohol, and lung cancer. Yep, that's right. You can run this entire agency from your laptop. Listen, I am doing a 100% free training coming up where I'm going to show you how to create a hyper-profitable local business marketing agency. Even if you have never done this before, if you're a complete newbie, just like Joseph. Joseph was a complete newbie, didn't even know how to create a Facebook ad. That's okay. You don't have to know anything. This is 100% beginner friendly, and we have trained thousands of people to do this. We have over 500 success stories on getclients.com. This training works, and yes, it's 100% free. Now, if you want to get on this training, all you have to do is click this button here. That will take you to a page where you can register for the training, pick out a time that is right for you and good for you, and you can get on. And again, this is 100% free training. It is amazing. I promise it will change your life. It is unlike all the other crap you see out there from these people that are, telling you these stupid stories and just trying to hype you up and stuff. I'm not going to show you I'm going to show you the ad. I'm going to show you how we build the offer. I'm going to show you everything, how we land the clients, the whole process. I'm going to show it to you, and it's 100% free. So do not delay. Go ahead and click that button and register for this training, and I cannot wait to see you there. This is Jordan Parker. He made $50,000 last month with his online business. This is Jimmy Rakowski, $50,000 a month with his online business. Philip Lang, $25,000 a month. And finally, Brett Watts, brand new to this, $10,000 a month. So what do all these people have in common? Well, they all learned how to do this business model from me. My name is Dan Henry, and I'm the founder of GetClients.com. And you might be asking, what is this business that they do? Well, it's very simple. It is one of the oldest businesses in the world, but it's updated for the modern era, and that is simply advertising. There are over 528,000 new small businesses opened every single month in the United States alone, and they all need more customers. They all need someone to advertise for them. And I'm sorry, but TV, radio, magazines, that stuff is not working anymore. What is working is paid traffic on social media like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, just like the ad you're watching right now. And what these people do is they take very simple ads, Facebook ads, Instagram ads, etc., and they put them out on Facebook for their clients. And once those ads are out on Facebook, they run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, generating leads for these clients, and they get paid a handsome monthly retainer fee on autopilot every single month, just one right after the other. And all they have to do is make sure that these ads keep generating leads for their clients, and their clients are happy. Now, if you're wondering, okay, Dan, That sounds great, but how do I do that? How do I get started? How do I generate leads for a local business? Well, I'd like to invite you to a call that we're doing today where I'm going to show you exactly how to land your first client doing this, how to actually run the ads and what we do and what we put on Facebook and Instagram to get them leads, and then how to scale and have multiple clients. All right, just so you understand, the average client, we charge about $1,500 a month. So you can imagine if you had 10 clients, what kind of income you could make. 15 clients, 20 clients. And I have hundreds and hundreds of students that have hit multiple dozens and dozens and dozens of clients. We have over 500 video testimonials on getclients.com. This is a huge opportunity that is not going away. It's not saturated. The demand is simply too high. There's not enough people out there willing to advertise for businesses on Facebook, Instagram. There's just the supply does not outweigh the demand. Again, over 500,000 new small businesses every single month created. There is plenty to go around. Click the link. It's somewhere in this video. Attend the call, and I'll show you exactly how they're doing it and how you can get started and really begin building a real online business, not some affiliate crap or even e-commerce or nothing like that. Literally just a very simple, easy to start business that you can run from day one. All right. I will see you guys on the call. Okay. So hopefully everybody can hear me. Can you hear me, Kyle?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I noticed on two of those, we didn't have the countdown timer at the end. And then on the first one we did. Maybe that was just how Christian did it. Would you say that that makes a big difference?
I don't know. We've never really tested it like
Right.
with or without the timer on the same video. I don't think
Sure.
it makes a huge difference.
Right. Gotcha. So, yeah, so you can kind of see that it's those three different ads. They're kind of similar in sort of the structure. I start with showing proof and capturing their attention. Then I explain a bird's eye view of the business model. And then I say, if you want to learn more, watch the webinar. That's pretty much it, is attention. I mean, you had a different sort of acronym for it. But to make it really simple, I would say like attention. And again, for courses, I would say attention, bird's eye view, and then call to action. Maybe that's how I think about it in my head. And attention would be like, show the result, demonstrate it like I did when I showed it. And then, the bird's eye view would be explaining the basic model. Like, for instance, if I was doing an ad for sold out courses, I might say something like, I might, for instance, log in on my Stripe and say something like, would you like to see how we do, $10,000 to $30,000 every single day selling an online course without ever doing a launch? And then I got the numbers up as I'm saying that, and they're like, holy shit. And then I go, listen, most people try to do these crazy launches and they put all their eggs in one basket. And if anything goes wrong, then they're screwed. I, however, found a much better way, and that is, slow and steady wins the race. I sell courses every single day on complete autopilot. And what we do is we run automated traffic to an automated webinar to an automated sale. Everything is completely automated, blah, 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 blah. If you would like a behind the scenes look on how we set this ad webinar sales structure up, and I'll show you inside my campaigns, I'll do this for you, I'll do that for you, blah, 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 blah. Click the link and register for this training where I'm going to show you this, and that. Can't wait to see you there, whatever. And so that's like the basic of it. And I would say that if you were wanting to think about the bird's eye, one way to do that is to mention a method. Because if you guys are paying attention to the sold out courses training, you should know that whatever your method is, whatever your vehicle is to achieve your desire, it's or your customer's desire, it's always going to be in contrast to an existing method that they're likely already trying. If you don't set that contrast up, it's way harder to sell. So if you're selling a real estate course and you know that your market has already tried X, like sending yellow letters, like there's a common method to send yellow letters in the mail that says, hey, I want to buy your house, give me a call back. That's a very, very common method. So you might say something like, what if I told you that I flipped 16 houses last year, including the one right behind me, and I didn't do it sending a single yellow letter. In fact, there's a much better way. You always want to contrast the old method to the new method. So for instance, for sold out courses, I throw rocks at launches as the old method and automated is the new method. If I'm talking about my 30-day agency program, there's a few different ways I can go about that. Likely, I'll say, like, lately I've been saying something like, everybody tries to set up these complicated funnels and they try to do emails and copy and all this crazy stuff when largely that is completely unnecessary. If you choose the right clients, you literally can have the simplest funnel in the world. In fact, you don't even need a funnel. Let me show you the new way that we run ads for local business. It doesn't even require a funnel, right? And then I show them the whole lead out thing, lead ad to lead out, which is the model for that. So it's like that, you capture their attention with showing a result. You mention the desire. You throw rocks at the old method. You introduce the new method. And then you say, would you like to see more behind the scenes of this new method? Click here to register for the webinar. That's pretty much the script to most of my videos. Wouldn't you say that's about right, Kyle?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, even the testimonial one, it's the same. I show the testimonials and then I just say, hey, everybody's doing it this way. You want to do it that way.
And now that I think about it, like some of the videos you've sent that didn't really work, I think you had the bird's eye pretty well done, but you didn't really have any testimonials or results or anything.
Right,
so
right.
Maybe that's an essential element here.
Yeah. And because when we first started this, I just threw some stuff together because I just wanted to get some ads up because I don't have time to edit my own video because I'm just, so I send the stuff over to Christian and I'll basically say, okay, Christian, go contact Carla and get whatever assets you need. Like for instance, for this last testimonial video we did, I said, all right, go get me a list of 3 people that are crushing it with their agency and that sent in a Loom video or a screenshot with very clear, big results. And then make me that list, give me a summary of who they are and what amount of money they did, send it to me. So then they went and worked that out and did that. And then I got on there and I said the first part, I said, okay, check out this person, check out that person, check out this person. And then I went into the rest. And so then Christian went and added in those screenshots and synced it with what I said and then edited it and all that and put the stuff in for you at the end and the button thing and all that. And so what that did, that to us obviously that takes a while. It takes, a few days to get that all together and then me to record it and this and that. So when I finally got you a properly structured YouTube ad, that's when it really blew up. And that was when we started introducing the testimonials. So it is an essential element. And I've always preached that in both my programs. In everything I've ever sold, I've always said that your number one goal should be to get results, show them off, and that's when you'll make the money, not try to be a better copywriter. Like if you're sitting there trying to learn funnels and copy and you're not worried about actually being good at what you're teaching, there's a problem, right? Like if you sell a real estate course and like if I was selling a real estate course, right, I would try to flip more real estate just so I had more case studies to include in my course to help sell it and help teach it. Give you another example. I make a lot of money selling online courses. Like we did $600,000 last month. So I don't need to take on little $1,500 a month local business clients like I used to. Like I have zero reason to do that. But because I need to be able to create ads and also create lessons for my course, I will literally, like we had a guy that came out to do a quote on my house to put in outdoor LED lighting, right? And he's like, I was about to pay this guy like 10 grand to light up my whole house. And he goes, how old are you? And I said, I'm 32. And he says, well, I think at this point I was 31 or 30. I don't remember. But he goes, you're really young to be in this house. Like, what do you do? Like, are you like an actor or something? And I'm like, no, I do online advertising. I own getclients.com. And he's like, really? He's like, and he got all wide eyed and excited. And he's like, well, can I pay you to, run ads for me and get me more clients? I said, well, at first I was going to say, well, no, because, I'm too busy. But then I was like, how does your business work? And he explains it to me. He says, well, we make an appointment to go out and do a demo. We go out at night. We set up all the lights temporarily where they're all connected with a cord, and then we set them where we would set them if we were permanently setting them up to show what the house would look like. We turn them on, the house lights up, and it looks amazing. And basically at that point, they don't want to not have that on all the time. They've seen it. They know how their house is going to look. So now when I tell them how much it is, they almost always say yes. And so at that point, I knew that it was a demonstratable product, that he had a high close rate, because I was about to pay him, because when I saw my house all lit up, like I have a $2 million house, and when he lit it up, it made it look like a $4 million house. I was like, holy shit, I have to have this. Like, this is baller. So I was going to stroke this dude a check for 10 grand. And so I knew that this was a good company, a good product to easily promote. So then I say, well, this is how much I charge and all this stuff. He goes, listen, man, he goes, what if I just lit up your whole house for free? Like, could you like do ads for me for a little bit? And I was like, sure. So I end up, and I said, you know what? I said, I tell you what, because he's like, maybe we can work a 50-50 deal. And I said, I tell you what, give me a week. I'll do it for you. Totally free. Won't charge you a dime. If you like it after a week, then you light my whole house up for free. No money. If you don't like it, no harm, no foul. And he goes, shit, okay. So first week I get the dude like 50 leads. He makes like fucking 50 grand, like right off the bat. Like, he goes to an appointment, closes 5 grand, goes to an appointment, closes 15 grand, goes to an appointment, closes 20 grand. And the dude calls me up and he's like, Dan, he's like, I don't know what you've done, but I'm coming out there and I'm going to, make your house look like Palisades Park. I'm like, all right. So he comes out, he puts in like 10 grand worth of lighting. He freaking lights my shit up. He puts in an LED pool light. He does all this stuff. Now my house looks ridiculous at night. And it only took me like 10 minutes to set up his whole campaign. But here's why I did that. I recorded the whole process of his campaign, everything I did step by step, and I used it for lessons in my 30-day agency program, and used it for a whole bunch of ads. I did the same thing with the person that sold me the house, my realtor. She called me up and she said, well, actually, she did pay me. She said, hey, Dan, how much do you charge to run ads for realtors? I said, $2 grand a month. She says, okay. At that point, I said, okay, fine. I'll take the $2 grand. So I charged her the $2 grand a month. I helped her sell a $3.8 million house. Again, I recorded all the stuff I did. And again, it's in lessons. And you saw it in that ad, that realtor, that realtor ad, that was her. And so I did not care, honestly, so much about the lights or the measly $2 grand a month. It was more about the fact that I would be able to leverage that and use that for ads and for my program. So for those of you out there that have courses on this and that, really focus on being good and cultivating what your course is about, so that you have assets and case studies and things for your ads, for your program, for your students to learn from, and for your promotion. That's just as important as learning a damn funnel or copy or any of this stuff, ads, whatever, because the whole core is testimonials. The whole core is your actual assets, your demonstratable things. If you're in this for a cash grab and you just want to do what a lot of these gurus do and, oh, let me funnel hack somebody and just, copy their shit and make money, you're never ever going to build a real business. You're just going to get beer money at best, and you'll fade away into nothingness because you are nothing. You're just a bottom feeder. But if you want to make a real business and change real lives, go make sure you are good at and get better at what you do, and get demonstratable assets and testimonials. Get your students more results. Work with them. When I first had my first, 10 students in my program, I would literally get on the phone with them personally if they had trouble, and I would help them get through it because I needed their testimonial. I put so much effort into getting like my first batch of, I'd say like 50 students, my first batch, amazing results. I went above and beyond because I needed them to be successful so that I could make videos like this. And now I've got everything so refined, and I've got, coaches and stuff that it was just, it's just easy now. The testimonials just come in like crazy, like every week. And then sold out courses is starting to get to that point now too. Like I saw a bunch of new testimonials posted in the group, and we're going to start using those. So, just keep in mind that you can buy a bunch of books on copy and this and that, but at the end of the day, all I really did here was I had a great product, and with great testimonials that I showed off. And that's what worked. That's really the main bulk of it. And so when you guys go through week 1 and week 2, and you go through with the beta group and all the stuff I teach, some of you may feel it's unnecessary. And why can't I just start my webinar? And this is why. This is how you get these assets. You do the beta program, you work with people, you make sure they get results. That is why. So you have these assets so that when you get to the part where we're running ads and we got our auto webinar running, you have what you need to make it sing. Does everybody understand that? Just type in the chat yes, and make sure that you really paid attention to what I just said there, because it's way more important than you think it is. It's way more important than you think it is. I see yes, yeah, good. All right. I just want to make sure you guys totally go hack funnels. Got it. Yeah, great. Yeah. And go jump around at a conference and hug each other. That'll help you too. But anyway, are you going to be at FHL, Kyle?
Yeah. This is my first year going.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we'll Hernan's going to be there. We'll all have dinner or something if you're game. Yeah. I'm probably going to be hanging out in the lobby most of the time. I'm not really into hearing the speeches. It's just, I don't know. When most of the speeches are about how I overcame being self-conscious or some shit, I'm just like, all right, I'm done. I'm done with this. Let's talk about ads and stuff. So anyway, you guys have any questions at this point? Do you have any questions about what we've covered? We'll spend a few minutes here answering them. And then if you want to go back and share your screen, Kyle, to their title slide, we can do that.
Yeah.
So I'll answer this one, but then I'll let Kyle follow up because I'm just guessing on this just based on what we've done so far. But Paul asked, what level of strictness is YouTube on what you say in your ads compared to Facebook? So far from what I've seen, way less strict, but that could change. Would you say that's correct, Kyle?
Yeah. There's not much you can't say right now. But
they are strict on your website though.
What's that?
They are strict on your landing page, right?
Yeah. So as far as the video, you can pretty much say whatever. You can talk about how you made X amount of dollars in X amount of time, something you couldn't say on Facebook. As far as your landing page, you just need certain elements. Like you need a link to a privacy policy. You need like a logo on your landing pages. I know on Facebook, you can get away with just like a name, email, opt-in form, basically. That's not going to fly with Google. So you need to do a little more, but you don't need much, really. As long as you have like a link to a privacy policy and a headline or something, that should be enough.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that when I put my more corporate looking site up, it helped.
One thing too that Google does, so they're not just looking at your landing page, they're also looking at your home page. And they're really trying to make sure your home page looks legit. So if all you're trying to use is a landing page and you don't have anything on your home page, that might not work so well. But if you have a typical businessy looking home page with a menu bar and all that stuff, they're going to look at that and say that you are a legitimate company and they aren't going to have any problems.
Cool. So any other questions? What's the difference between the conversions between Facebook and YouTube? Do they act differently, different demographics? I'm not sure what the question is there. I don't, can you be more specific? I don't know what you mean by the difference between conversions. Cost? I would say they're lower cost on YouTube and they're easier to scale. I mean, that's what from what I've seen, but I mean, Kyle's the one in the dashboard, you know.
Yeah, well, I don't know exactly what you're doing on Facebook, so it's harder for me to comment on that. But I know that's
okay, so I can comment on. So on Facebook, it's more about, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kyle, but when you run YouTube ads, you really only have cost per lead and cost per sale to go on, right?
Yeah.
Right. So on Facebook, we optimize. So we have cost per lead, cost per attended webinar, cost per add to cart, and of course, cost per sale. So we look at multiple, like for instance, let's say there's an ad set where the lead cost is high, but the ad, like let's say the lead cost is like $20 and we're like, ugh, okay. But the add to cart is only like $40 because if we have like, say a 30% conversion rate on our order page and it's $9.97 for the order page and we have $40 add to carts, that's obviously profitable, right? But then we might notice an ad set that has $5 leads, but the add to cart price is like $300. So we'll make multiple turn on, turn off decisions based on multiple conversions. So if we look at a core metric, like obviously we want cost per sale is our core metric at the end of the day. But because of delayed attribution and because you have to let the ad run for a while, you don't really know what that's going to be for sometimes a couple weeks per ad, depending on how much you're spending, or maybe even a week. So you have to look at conversions that happen faster, like cost per lead is obviously the fastest one, or I guess cost per click is the fastest one, but I almost never look at that. So we'll optimize, we'll say, okay, lead cost is high, but watch webinar is low and add to cart is low. So we're going to keep it on and see what happens and let it go. And then that'll become profitable or it won't. Most of the wasted ad money it's sort of like gambling, right? More of the wasted ad money that we have doesn't necessarily come from ad sets that aren't that profitable. Like we have really profitable ad sets. It comes from testing and it comes from ad sets that we thought, all right, we have a high cost per lead, but we have a low cost per add to cart. So let's let it ride. And we let it ride and we spend several $1,000s more. And then it's like, we don't get a sale or we only get one sale and we spent $3,000 or whatever. We go, all right, shit, I guess that one didn't work. Shut it off. But sometimes we're right and sometimes we're wrong. And as long as we're right, so actually not gambling, trading stocks would be a better example. As long as we're right more times than we're wrong, we're going to be profitable. Now, keep in mind that what I'm telling you is at a high ad spend. When you're only spending $100 a day, all of that becomes way easier because when you're only spending $100 a day, it's easier to be super profitable, like 10x ad spend. But when you're spending 10 grand a day, you ain't going to get no 10x ads not ad spend, 10x ROAS, as they say, return on ad spend. You're not going to get 10x at $10,000 a day. It's not possible. Unless you were selling something like super high ticket, like $30,000 or something. But so I hope that makes sense in contrast to YouTube, if that answered your question, Michael. And then he's asking, what is the cost per lead on YouTube? And is there delayed attribution on YouTube?
So for leads, it shows up pretty quick. It may take a few hours for the lead to show up in Google Ads, but it's pretty quick. The sale, it's just delayed because they might not buy it right away. But once they actually make that purchase, again, it should show up within a few hours. And then as far as like cost per lead, so with Dan's campaign as an example, we're paying between $4 and $6 per lead, almost predominantly on computer at this point. Mobile leads we can get for like $1.50 to $2. But because of how mobile is converting different than computer, we'd have to pay closer to like $1 to really get that to be the same ROI. Which we can get some leads at $1, but not really at scale. So there's a lot of variables. And then also like placement campaigns, we're paying more per lead there because those are converting so much better than like a topic or an in-market campaign. Like I have some placements where we're getting dollar leads on computers, but you can't scale one placement. So we're bidding up whatever is most profitable. But yeah, that's kind of the range we're at with Dan's 30-day agency right now is $4 to $6 per lead. And then that's at about 100% ROI. And again, if we were only spending 100 or 200 a day, we could easily be getting 10x ROI. But as we scale, then we sacrifice some of the ROI.
But then, at the end of the day, you're still making more money,
Right.
I mean, if we could spend $1 million a month on YouTube ads and make back 1.5 million, that's only 1.5 ROI or 1.5x, I would be fine with that, because if you spend, say, 100,000 and you make 200,000 back, you only made 100,000. If you spend $1 million and you get 1.5 million back, you've now made 500,000 profit. So people get weird about that. They're like, oh my God, like the profit goes down. Yeah, but your amount of profit goes up. Your rate of profit, your percentage of profit might go down, but your actual total profit goes up. Like the amount at the end of the day that you bring home and put in your bank account.
So it's like a balancing act, and that's why you need to increase the budget slowly and see what that does to your profit.
Paul asks, can you get your Google ad account shut down like you can on Facebook?
Not really. I've never seen someone whose account just got completely shut down. They will disapprove ads a lot, which isn't a big deal. You can just make a new ad. Sometimes they will ban a website, but you usually have to be doing something pretty shady to get a website banned. They will just disapprove a landing page a lot, but they're actually pretty easy to work with in those instances. There's a phone number you can call Google Ads support. And let's say you got your website was disapproved. They'll tell you why it was disapproved and what you need to change. And then when you change it, they'll review it and you'll get approved again. So it's not something I ever would worry about getting anything shut down, because they're pretty easy to work with, even if you do something that they don't like.
Nice. Gotcha. All right. Is there any type of watching ads and tweaking things other than adjusting budgets and blocking placements, keywords, and topics? I'm not quite sure on that question. Is there any type of...
So there's a lot of things you can tweak. So I guess, so you're talking about like optimizing and stuff?
Yeah, like is there, I think he's asking, besides what you've covered, is there any other little tweaks? Well, I mean, I can answer that, and that is, why don't you work on all the crazy amount of stuff we've covered first, and then if you're not happy with the results, then maybe you can think about that. But even then, I wouldn't think about that. I would think about just doing what we taught better. I find that the simplest answer is always the correct answer. And if you just probably follow the simple, like if you just follow what we taught here, that should work. And if it doesn't work, you should do it better. You know what I mean? Like don't try something else, do it better. Maybe your video is not good enough. Maybe you didn't follow instructions specifically on one part. Do what's in front of you better. That's never the answer people want to hear. But it's always the right answer. Yeah, I understand you were just curious. I just wanted to.
And yeah, there's more you can tweak too. You can make different adjustments for different age groups. So instead of excluding an age group, maybe you just bid lower or higher for an age group. You can test different text on your call to action button. Different stuff like that. Like there's always something. But like Dan said, if you're getting to the point where you're worried about that kind of stuff, your campaign should already be working extremely well. None of that is going to get things working. Right. What I've showed you today is going to get stuff working.
Yeah. And then I say the same thing with like Facebook ads and stuff. You know, little things don't take you from a bad campaign to a good campaign. Little things take a good campaign and squeeze just a little bit extra out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So any other questions? We've been on now for 3 hours exactly. I'm sure I know I have to eat and take a bathroom break. I'm sure Kyle does too. So it looks like that's the end of the questions. You're welcome, Michael. You're welcome, Paul. Hope everybody had a great time. And we'll go ahead and upload the recording of this as soon as we can. It should be up within, I'd say, 24 to 48 hours in the actual program. And again, you guys will want to step-by-step follow it. So, Kyle, man, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to do this. This was amazing. I definitely learned a lot seeing behind the scenes of what you do with the videos I send you, and I'm sure it helped everybody else here. So fantastic, man. Thank you so much again.
Yeah, you're welcome.
All right, brother. All right. So thanks, guys, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow for the regularly scheduled sold out courses call. All right, guys. See you later.